All right, let's solve this question. The question says if cot theta equals 8 over 15, where theta is acute, it says find sine theta. Find sine theta. So how do we solve this question? First of all, we have to understand from the previous video that our cot theta is the same thing as the inverse of tan theta. So that means cos theta is the same thing as 1 over tan theta. So what does that tell us? Deducting from here, we would realize that if cot theta equals 8 over 15, which is the inverse of tan, that means our tan theta would automatically be what? 15 over 8. So I haven't known that we've inverted our cot theta. That means we've inverted the value of cot theta, which is 1 over tan theta. We've inverted it to be tan theta over 1. So that means if cot theta, or let me write that out to make it easier. We know we have cot theta equals 8 over 15, which is the same thing as what? 1 over tan theta. It means if this cos theta equals 8 over 15 equals what? 1 over tan theta. Let's remove this from the equation. Let's just say we have this alone. That's this here. So if you write this down, you're going to have 8 over 15 equals what? 1 over what? Tan theta. So to invert this, do you agree with me that this is also the same thing as saying 15 over 8 equals what? Tan theta, when you invert both sides. And that was how we got here. So having known that, let's move on to the next part of the solution. Okay, so that means to continue with this, we're going to have, we already know that our tan theta is what? 15 over what? 8. Where this is our opposite, this is our adjacent. As we know that tan theta is what? The same thing as what? Our opposite over what? Adjacent. So let's convert this question to a diagram to make our work easier so we can find sine theta. So our opposite is going to be 15 in this case, and our adjacent is going to be what? 8. So to find our sine theta, having known that our sine theta is going to be what? Opposite over what? Hypotenuse. So we need hypotenuse to find the value of what? Sine theta. Let's represent this by what? Hypotenuse. So using Pythagoras theorem, we can find our hypotenuse. Pythagoras. So using Pythagoras theorem, what are we going to have? That is the square of the longest side is equal to the square of the opposite side and the what's adjacent. So using this formula, we're going to have hypotenuse squared equals what? We're going to have 15 squared plus what? Our adjacent, which is 8 squared. So what next are we going to do from this point? We are going to see hypotenuse squared equals So what is the square of 15? That is going to give us 225 plus the square of 8, which is what? 64. So what next are we going to do from this point? We're going to have hypotenuse squared will be equals 225 plus 64 is going to give us 289. 289. Then what next do we do from here? The next thing we're going to do is to take square roots of both sides. Take square roots. We'll write that well. Square roots of both sides. Okay, if you take the square roots of both sides, what are we going to have? That means we're going to have hypotenuse. Let me write this out in this case to make it more clearer. The square of this is going to be equal to the square root of 289. So having to do the square root of both sides, this can cancel out this. So we have hypotenuse equals what? The square root of 289. So what is going to be the value of the square root of 289? We are going to have what? Two numbers that we can multiply to give us 289 is what? 17 times 17. So that means our hypotenuse side is going to be what? Is going to be 17. Okay. So we are not done with the question. The question says we should find sine theta. So to find sine theta, simply using our SOHCAHTOA, we're going to have sine theta equals, what is our opposite? From the diagram over here, our opposite is 15 over our hypotenuse, which is what? 17. So finally, our answer for the sine 30, if cot theta equals 8 over 15, our sine theta is going to be what? 15 over 7.